save her, Clem. We have to go. Believe me, I know about this.
Hurry up! What the fuck do I do? Slap her! Yeah! Yo, what is up guys, it's TyrantX1 here and welcome to another game review. This time, I'm reviewing The Walking Dead Season 2. Now, the story begins a year and a quarter since the events of Season 1, and now Clementine is wandering towards a place called Wellington with Krista. But of course, events unfold themselves and she ends up being on her own, and thus she finds a new group of people and ends up going on a big-ass journey throughout basically making her way to Wellington and stuff like that. So yeah, the story is a lot more, it's a bit much of a bigger journey this time. Where Season 1, you pretty much stuck out in one place for like the first half. This time, you're pretty much playing as Clementine, going on a big-ass journey, going to some place that may or may not exist. And there is a lot of stuff that happens in this series. Compared to Season 1 though, it's not as impactful as the first season. It really didn't get to me as much as the first season, but I think it played out okay. It was great seeing Clementine's character develop over the course of the game, since you do get to play her. But it was really cool seeing how she grows from being, it really shows how her character does develop over time, from being someone who's sort of weak to someone who becomes an utter badass. And the things that she does survive in this game are would be pretty damn difficult for a kid of her age in this sort of situation. Now there is new characters in this series, well of course there is, since hardly anyone survived the first season. But the characters in this series aren't as memorable. I mean, there's a few decent ones like Luke, Jane, pretty much those two really, and a few others that I can't necessarily remember. But yeah, the characters aren't as memorable, plus they get killed off a lot quicker in this game. Like in Season 1 at least, they only killed off like 1 or 2 characters per episode. This one, he kind of kills people off like literally from the get-go. Like episode 1, literally 10 minutes in and already they kill Omid, and then a few minutes after that, they kill Krista. It's like the game did not really give a shit whether they survived or not. Which comes to my other conclusion now once again, that the choices that you make in this game, once again, don't make any goddamn well, not sense, but there's just no need for the choices in this damn game, once again. But they feel even worse in this one. Just don't, like, no matter what you do, you can't save anyone. I mean, there is the final part of the game, which is the ending, which pretty much are probably the only necessary choices of the entire game. And there is about 5 endings to this game, and each of them are sort of a little bit different. Since you do have to make a big choice in the end, which does technically, does make a big impact on one of the characters, depending on who you choose. And there is even returning characters from the first season, surprisingly enough, and surprisingly of all people, it's Kenny, which, out of all the characters who should return from Season 1, makes probably the least sense. Well, that who isn't dead. Because, I mean, the situation he was in, surrounded by a bunch of zombies, there was really no hope for him getting out, so it really made no sense that he returned and survived. But to be honest, Kenny in this season is actually done a lot better. True, he goes through his depressed stage again, but this time when he does something irrational, it's more like he's trying to protect Clementine and another character that's introduced later on in the series, so he becomes a lot more of a protected person. And so yeah, I feel like Kenny was a lot more likable in this season compared to the first season. But yeah, considering the story and the characters, I mean hell, and the story even goes to the point where it's like, yeah, we're gonna recreate the governor from the TV series, which is this guy called Carver, who pretty much is literally like the governor. Like, he has his own place, pretty much controls everyone and all that stuff, and he's a complete and utter arsehole of a character. So yeah, it's like it does take a lot of things as well. There's a few like stuff that they take from the TV series, and it makes a bit of sense and stuff, or kind of like a little Easter egg. There are also some characters that really could have been developed a lot better too. Again, with the decisions that you make, characters like Sarah, who is sort of like a,
Looks like they were a
I
happy
think probably
family
she's like an autistic kid of some sort, from what I've gathered. She could have been a really like prominent character. She starts out weak, but then she gets stronger over time. Hell, there's even a point where you have to save her from a situation where she's literally like having complete and utter breakdown, and the fact that during the same episode, even if you save her and not leave her behind, she dies anyway. Like, once again, your choices do not fucking matter in this game. It really annoys me when a game that revolves and adapts to the choices you make and they make no like impact on the story is completely annoying to me. And the fact that in Season 2 it's not as good. Season 1, at least, there was something there. And hell, there's even a lot less interactivity with the characters in this one. Like in the first season, you could literally like walk around the place and talk to people during some points. This one, there isn't that many scenes, and it decides to go for a more it goes for a more quick time event setting for mechanics. Like there's a lot more like moving, like there's a lot more action scenes, but to be honest, that kind of makes it worse for the characters, because it makes the characters even more forgettable, considering you don't get to talk to them as often and you don't get to make up any like conversations with them. There is some, but not all that much. So yeah, considering the story and the characters, it really wasn't done, and even the choices, it wasn't done particularly as well compared to the first season. At least the fact that it didn't mess up with Clementine though, because Clementine really was a very well done and well-rounded character. And there were some likable characters along the way, just not as well done as the first season's characters. And the outcome of the story just basically makes me think that Season 3 is going to suffer for it as well, because considering that there is 5 endings to this game, it's going to be pretty damn difficult to like think of, like to come up with different stories or some stuff, for considering the amount of endings for the outcome of Clementine too. So yeah, the story could definitely do with some improvement this time. It's like they didn't exactly think everything through with this one. Now, because this game is a little bit more interactive compared to the first season, there is a lot more like action to the story. Now, I think that was actually pretty cool since there's a bit more action to the story. But it just, like I said before, it doesn't give us enough time to interact with the characters and makes us pretty much forget about them. Now, there is actually a few technical problems with the game too. Like, when it transitions between scenes, there is a big, massive time gap. Like, there's a big time freeze for like a good 10 or 20 seconds. Now, it just made it very kind of awkward when it came to some of the like more intense scenes, and it's kind of annoyed me really. It's happened every so often and a lot. But yeah, it's like the transitions, at least in the first season between scenes, was actually like instant. It just was like one big freaking like time freeze, and then it would just get in to the next scene unknowingly. But yeah, other than that, that's only pretty much what really annoyed me in the game. But yeah, it's pretty much, the second season could definitely have done with some improvements. I mean, yeah, hell, even the 400 Days DLC from the first season has like a bunch of characters. Only one of those characters is prominent, who is Bonnie. And then every other character just has like a 5-second like cameo, and that's pretty much it. It's like, it's kind of freaking pointless playing the 400 Days DLC, to be honest. If the characters, even if you get all the characters to go with Tavia, like 4 out of 5 are gonna have like a 5-second cameo, and that's pretty much it, which is kind of pointless. And Bonnie, even then again, seems like pretty much not the best character of the bunch anyway, considering the stuff that she does later down the road. But yeah, Walking Dead Season 2 could have definitely done with some improvements, and it actually does look at the graphics themselves. It looks a little bit more smoother compared to the first season, and it does look a little bit more nicer and a lot more dark and gloomy, and it definitely shows the intensity of like the zombie apocalypse and like the sort of doubt like how bad humans can get and stuff like that. It really shows how graphic it can get with this series. And so yeah, it improved there at least. But overall, the second season could definitely have done with a better story, or at least they could have at least tried with the choices. But then again, you never know, since trying to make a game that adapts to the choices that you make can be very difficult. But once again, but the fact that the second season just wasn't as well done as the first kind of did disappoint me a little bit, but it was a decent enough journey compared to the first season. The first season had a well-rounded journey, this one was well-rounded too, and you always wanted to make sure Clementine made through it. So yeah, it was a bit of an impactful journey and there was a lot of intense parts, but yeah, this season could definitely do with some improvements. So overall, I'm going to give Walking Dead Season 2 an 8 out of 10. So, that is my review of The Walking Dead Season 2. Hopefully with the amount of endings that Season 2 has, which is about 5, maybe there might be some, like, changes to the Season 3, hopefully. Well, that depends on when I get to it, because since I haven't got that one, it will take some time for me to get to Season 3, but hopefully I'll get there eventually. But yeah, hopefully Season 3 will do a better job. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Leave a like down below, subscribe, comment down below what you think is right or wrong with the game. Also comment what other games you would like me to do, and I shall see you guys in the next random video.